Hello again, it is I, Freebooterz, and we are back with some Warhammer 40K lore. This time we're talking about
the Freebooterz.
After the
So what can we say about the Freebooterz? Well, the Freebooterz are very unusual for orc standards, and this is why they are freebooting instead of being in a clan or being in a tribe. They're usually exile orcs. I know, right? How violent and crazy do you have to be for crazy violent orcs to say,
What? I'm having with your shit? Get out of me clan.
but that's exactly what happens. So there are many types of orcs that can become freebooters. Mech boys can become freebooters. Regular boys can become freebooters. Doctors can become freebooters, although their doctors are called pain boys. And the main reason why you would exile a doctor is that, well, he performed the infamous squig orc brain transplant. And if you don't know what that is, essentially what he does is the doctor's bored and decides, you know what? I'm going to grab the squig's brain and put it inside the orc. And I'm going to grab the orc's brain and put it inside the squig. And it actually works. So you'll end up with one really retarded, really angry orc, but you're going to end up with a really confused squig who's going to be sometimes uttering orcish, but most of the time he's just going to be sitting there confused as fuck. So, there's a lot of orcs that can become freebooters, but freebooters do not associate themselves with other orcs. They may hire themselves out as mercenaries, they may partake in a war, but they will not associate themselves as,
Oh, I'm a deaf skull.
no, they don't do that. They don't care about orc society. Now, there's a lot of reasons, though, why an orc who's a regular orc may be exiled or may decide to become a freebooter. Now, freebooter is more or less just a term used on any orc who decides to be a pirate, a renegade, an exile, an outcast. Any really term can fit a freebooter. So you may end up with an orc who just believes in chaos instead of Gork and Mork. He's a freebooter. He will join a freebooter tribe and preach about how much he loves corn and how much he will go,
Blood for the blood god.
and the other orcs don't really give a shit. They're just kind of there to be violent, get loot. Some orcs are actually exiled because they're too rich, and these are the flashy gits. Now, I know it sounds weird. How are you so rich that you're kicked out? Well, because you possess more teeth than the other guy. That's enough for them to just say,
Get the fuck out of here, bitch.
Now, when freebooters fight, are they cunning? Are they straightforward? Well, they're kind of a mixture between the two, and it's really up to the individual captain of the crew, which is the name of the war boss who leads a freebooter tribe, is a captain, Kaptin, yeah. And some captains are very cunning. They're very smart individuals. We see this with Captain Bloodflag of Dawn of War 2, where he's actually really cunning. But he is an orc nonetheless, and he does just kind of charge at anybody who really pisses him off. But then there are other captains who are really just bloodthirsty motherfuckers. Now, when it comes to like their tactics, though, they're not different from normal orc tactics. So they'll just charge straight at the enemy. Now, you may think, well, how the fuck do they become successful pirates if they just literally charge at an Imperial vessel with their ship, and their ship is usually tinier than an escort ship? And it's like, well, there's a thing, is that Sun Tzu was the master strategist because he knew that the environment comes to play. Well, the orcs use the environment as freebooters, but they don't realize it. As far as they know, they just like to hide out with the asteroid and rocks because rocks are good smashing. But really, the rocks actually hide them from the sensors of other ships. So you'll just be cruising through the asteroid field, and all of a sudden,
Whoa.
boom, you just got boarded and crashed. Yeah, it's not a pleasant sight, but it is effective. And more prominent or successful freebooter captains will have a small fleet. That's the biggest they get. They don't have WAs. Now, Freebooter war gear is a little different from normal orc war gear in the sense that freebooters will actually scratch off any insignias or identification that they really have. So you can't look at a freebooter and go, oh, he's one of the Bad Moon clans. No, you can't tell. You really cannot tell. And that's actually for the better. Because now every orc doesn't care who is who. They won't go,
Ooh, you a nasty death skull, git.
and then just smack him up for no reason. Instead, they just kind of do their own thing. Now, the only problem is that they're ultra violent. Even by orc standards, they are ultra fucking violent. And when it comes to boarding, well, their ships are tiny, and there's a lot of violence. And as we all know, orcs actually breed in violence. So what happens is the ship becomes shoulder to shoulder filled with orcs. So the moment you board an orc freebooter vessel, all of a sudden, you were just staring at a good dozen of red eyes as they come stomping through the fucking boarding party. And that's essentially the only way that they win, is they make sure their ship is jam-packed with orcs. Now, freebooters are very interesting because the reasoning is very different for every orc. And really, it's weird is that freebooters all dress similar, but they don't try to look alike. They instead dress up flamboyantly. So they will dress up in like giant thick coats of red to signify that they are captain. Or they'll wear like hooks on their eyes because they're fucking idiots and they don't realize that, you know, the hook on their eye doesn't do anything. Now, the also interesting thing to note is that their war gear consists of highly customizable stuff. And it's not because they're rich, although some of them are. Some of them are very fucking rich. But it's mostly because they don't have mech boys. So because of the fact that they don't have mech boys, they have to kind of innovate their own stuff. And then the freebooters who are mech boys, they don't really care to design weapons and stuff. They care to design a specific thing that they have a hard-on for. So you may come across a freebooter mech who only cares to design bikes. And that's all he cares to do. If you ask him, hey, can you make me a shooter? He's going to look at you and go, pfft.
Shooter's not fast enough, you daft git.
And then just smack you with his fucking wrench. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So, since they lack doctors and mechs, what they have to resort is their own personal innovation. So that's why every freebooter gear isn't standard, even by orc standards. There is no baseline. So you're going to come across orcs who are missing legs, and they'll replace it with literally a peg leg. And it's not to look more piratey, although that is some of their reasons. It's mostly because they lack doctors and mechs to really get a proper prosthetic. Now, aside from that, though, what do orc freebooters usually do on their typical day? Well, they typically are fighting each other on board their own vessel, which is typical of any orc, but they also will plan things. Like, they may get bored and decide to attack a farm world solely for the reason of just to either experiment their new weaponry or really just to attack something. And sometimes for loot, because sometimes when they're attacking stuff, they'll find some really good bits and bobs lying around that they can use to customize their gear even better. Like, they may just find some farmer's pitchfork and go, oi, this is a good peg leg, and then just stick it up his fucking stump, and then there you go. He's got a new peg leg. Sometimes, though, what they'll do is they'll attack a world solely for the purpose of to just wait a few years and wait for whatever response the Imperium sends. Because they are bored. They will do anything they can to get a fight. Now, they don't seek out losable fights per se. Like, they're not going to engage a massive armada. No. But if they see a lonesome escort ship or like a typical planetary defense force, which is like 3 frigates, they will gladly charge at that with their tiny fleet of like 4 or 5 tiny escort-shaped frigates. Now, I keep saying frigates, and that's my bad. I just like to call ships frigates. But just know that the orc ships are typically very small. Again, less than or equal to the size of an escort ship. So they're not that big. So, again, I'm just like to use the word frigate. But besides that, though, there have been some notable orcs captains and some notable orcs in general who are freebooters. Being a freebooter isn't bad, it just means that other orcs don't trust you and they don't like you. And in a WoW, they have no problem hiring you out. Or in the case of you coming across an orc planet that's nothing but orcs, one tribe may actually hire you to fuck with the other tribe. You may not do that, you may just get paid and then just decide to leave, but that's what the other orcs will do. You're kind of like a wild card. You're just used for whatever purpose. But on the flip side, they don't wear as much armor as other orcs because they rather dressed flamboyantly with their red coats and stuff like that. But on the other hand, some of them are super armored, super kitted out because they're flashy gits. They can afford the best armor and weapons. So again, freebooters don't have a baseline. They're more chaotic than normal orcs. And with that, this has been Freeza700. This has been Freebooter Lore. See you guys next time.